Hello, my name is Dr. Chris Lord, and as I have stated in my earlier videos, I am running for President of the United States of America in 2020. But there are some issues that need to be dealt with now that really have not been dealt with. For example, slavery, the institution of slavery began in 1619. It lasted for 246 years and ended in 1865. But there's other things that occurred. Slavery really didn't end. It was just the physical slavery that ended. But after the physical slavery, there was still a mental slavery that has still overcome Black Americans or African Americans. That slavery doesn't end until 2019. That means from the beginning of the institution of slavery at 1619 till next year, 2019, will be officially 400 years in which slavery will have lasted. And so that's why we see all of these disparities and all these problems still um, tormenting the Black community, the African American community. We see police brutality. We see many Blacks in a lower socioeconomic um, class and other issues. And we're wondering why. Why does this continue to persist? It's because Blacks and African Americans, and or as you call them, African Americans, are still enslaved. And so right now I would like to help Black Americans, African Americans come out of slavery. Uh, it's time that we began a transition, starting now. So the first thing to do is to know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Okay, and the truth is that we are still enslaved, but we are in a mental slavery. So now it is time for us to start to change our thinking so that we can come out. And like I said before, the revolution will not be televised. Why? Because the revolution takes place in people's minds first. That is something that can never be captured on television. So right now, all I'm asking is for people to think about this, to think about what it means to have been enslaved for 400 years and what it means to actually finally come out and what that means. How do we actually come out of slavery? Uh, like I said before, it takes a renewed mindset. It takes a mindset. You have to say, hey, I am a slave. I am still a slave. I have a slave mentality. You just have to accept it. You just have to acknowledge it and accept it. Okay? That's the first step. Then once you understand, okay, I am a slave, I have a slave mentality. I'm talking about all Blacks, all African Americans. It is time for us to accept the fact that we have slave mentalities, that we are still slaves. Once you accept that fact, now you can come to the place of, okay, now let's try to come out of this slave mentality of let me stop being a slave. Okay, what does it mean to be a slave? Let's look it up in a dictionary. Let's find out what does it mean to be a slave. And then let me try to apply that definition to the various areas of my life. Am I a slave? For example, the borrower is slave to the lender. What percentage of my finances, what percentage of my property am I borrowing, and what percentage of my property am I lending? Am I borrowing more than I'm lending? Well, then, therefore, I am a slave in my finances. You understand? These are the kinds of mentality shifts we're going to have to make. Now, all you have to do is wake up to the fact. You just have to wake up to the fact that you've been a slave in your finances. You don't have to make the shift yet, but you do have to wake up. Am I borrowing more? Do I have a whole lot of credit cards, more credit cards than I do assets? Okay? Am I, every time I have money, do I invest it in something that brings value to my life, or do I spend it on worthless things? Do I have a whole lot more worthless things than I have valuable things? things that actually other people would want and spend lots of money for, and the value of those things appreciates every year. Do I have that? Just wake up. Just wake up to the reality. Okay. This is Dr. Chris Lord signing off. As I told you before, I am running for president of the United States of America in 2020, and I'm going to help all Black Americans and or African Americans, as we call ourselves, come out of slavery, because we are Americans, and it's time for us to come out.